What's up, everybody, and welcome to another Kinstretch class brought to you by Stretch Effect. My name is Coach Luke, and I'll be taking you through today's 25-minute scapular focused Kinstretch class. So today's class is going to be all about the scapula or the shoulder blades. So these are the bones that sit on our back that help us to create shoulder motion, and really anything that we like to do with the upper body really requires good scapular motion in all 360 degrees. So we have elevation, depression, protraction, which is running forward, and retraction. But they don't only move in those four directions, they also move in all the directions in between. So we're going to be really working a lot of shoulder blade cars today. We're doing some scap retraction work, scap protraction work, and really just trying to get familiar with the shoulder blade, how they function, and then we'll kind of tie them all together with some end range rotations, which is just essentially a loaded version of our scapular cars. And then we will finish with some swimmer hops. So let's just get set up right here. Go to a tall kneeling position. If you want to take a block, go to your knees. That just kind of helps give you a little bit more lower body or pelvic tension. So you're squeezing the block in with the knees, squeeze the glutes. The lower body still, and have my hands just right at my sides. I'm going to think just my middle finger or between my middle and ring finger, which will be right locked in inside of my legs. As I move up and down, I can just slide my hands up and down here. But as I move forward and back, I want to make sure that my hands aren't rotating this way. I want to make sure that I can really just drive forward and pull back with my hands in contact with my sides. The thing I also want to make sure is as we come up, especially as we come up and back, we don't let them drift away, right? So even though my hands are on my sides, it's a very common compensation. People in their mind, they're still in contact, but now that's just another form of compensation. So we really want to direct as much motion in those shoulder blades as we can. So let's just get set up here. We have 3 reps in each direction. Core is locked in, glutes are tight. I'm going to come up, forward, down, pull back, squeeze, come up, over, down, pull back, squeeze, up, over, and back. Those hands at our sides. Now we're going to reverse. Forward, up, over the top, squeeze, back and down. We got 2 more here. Forward, up, back, down. 1 more. Forward, up, that back and down is really where most people need the most of it. Here we go, and relax. Okay, so from there, we're going to go into a scat car from our quadruped position. So it'll be hands right under the shoulders, knees right under the hips. Make sure I keep a nice tight core throughout. Make sure I'm not arching through that lower back, especially as I go into the retraction, which in this case would be dropping my chest to the floor and squeezing my shoulder blades. So make sure your hands are in a nice solid position right under the shoulders. Make sure you have a good, nice tight core position. I'm going to do the same motion here. So I'm going to shrug up, retract, pull back and down, and press. Shrug, retract, pull back and down, press. 1 more time. Shrug, retract, pull back and down, and protract. Now here we're just going to reverse. I'm going to pull down, retract. So see how I kind of lost that core stability a little bit there, right? So set that tension, pull down, retract, shrug, press, pull down, retract, shrug, press. If this bothers your wrists at all for the last rep, if you want to go into kind of a closed fist position, you can do that as well. So I'm just going to think protract, pull down, retract, shrug, and press away. So that's a common intro into the more loaded scap cars that we'll do a little bit later. And then the last version that we're going to do from here, we're going to go into what's called a open kinetic chain position. So this would be closed kinetic chain. Open kinetic chain with the hands out in the air. Yeah, we've done these before, we've done the class of this before, so now we're going to come out just a little bit. Like we said, shoulder blades can function in all directions, right? So I want to make sure my hands stay locked out, or sorry, elbows stay locked out. Make a fist with the hands, and then I'm just going to work scap cars from here. So I'm going to protract, so I'm reaching hands forward, shrug, retract, pull down. So I'm going to protract, shrug, retract, pull down. 1 more time. Then protract, reach forward, shrug, retract, pull down. Now from here, stay retracted, keep those elbows locked out. Shrug, protract, pull down, retract. Shrug, protract, pull down, retract. retract one more time. Keep the elbows straight, about 45 degrees out from our sides. Shrug, retract, depress, pull the shoulder blades down, and retract. Okay, shake those shoulders up. Should be a good warm up for us there. So now we're going to go into some, it's called Scapular traction liftoffs. So if you've done our classes before, you're familiar with these ones. I'm just going to set myself up in a prone position. So I have my chest on the floor. Make sure that I have a good tight total body tension. So if I want to take this block, squeeze between your knees, that just helps you create a little more tension in your lower body. I'm really working to try to tuck my tailbone and try to lift the belly button off of the floor. That's just going to allow me to create a little bit more total body tension and not get a compensation through arching my lower back. It's going to really focus all that motion into our shoulder blades. Just like we did scapular cars, how most people want to retract and then extend their spine. This is really going to allow us to kind of cut that off, right? So now I'm here, so I can really just focus on scapular traction, isolated from lumbar extension, right? So from here, I'm just going to set up, squeezing the block between my legs. The position of your hand will be dependent on how much mobility you have, right? So if you're very mobile, what you can do is you can take a block and elevate your hand. So now your hand is here. So as I'm laying down, I'm trying to lift off an even higher surface. If you're, if you're fairly mobile, you can go from fists kind of next to the ribs, or if you're not as mobile, you can just kind of continue to walk your hands down this way to, you can do it from a straight arm position as well. So kind of here's that kind of a good starting baseline. See if you can do like the tuck, retract, lift. If you can, stay right there. If you can't, start walking your hands down, try to find where you can lift from. If you can get way high up with your shoulder blades, then elevate your fists onto a block, okay? Or two, one for each hand. We go 10 scapular traction liftoffs. Every time you lift, like set the core tension, squeeze your elbows into your body, and then just try to lift those elbows straight up into the air. So we're just gonna lift, hold, set back down nice and slow. Head is down, shoulder blades are back and down. Squeeze the block, tuck the tailbone, get those elbows squeezing into the body. Think squeeze and lift. Back down, one. Squeeze, lift, two. Squeeze, pull back and down the shoulder blades, lift, three. Squeeze, ribs down, core tight, squeeze that block, lift, four. Squeeze, five. Here we go with 5 in, so we got 5 more. Think tension check, tuck that tailbone, squeeze the block, shoulder blades back and down, squeeze the body with the elbows, squeeze up, back in, 6, squeeze up, down, 7, squeeze up, down, 8, 2 more, reset the core tension if you lost it, squeeze up, down, 9, last one, squeeze, up, and 10, very good. Come up, shake it out if you need to. Give yourself a little kind of shake out. And then from there, we're going to go into some protraction work. So the protraction work will be a lot like if you've done our cat-cow with us before, but we just want to get, instead of going into the spinal flexion, we're just going to get nice and tight through that core, and then I'm going to protract. So I'm going to press the floor away from me as much as I possibly can. Okay, so instead of now rounding out my thoracic spine, that would be kind of like the cat-cow position, right? So we want to get good brace, and I want to just press away from the floor. So I'm trying to get as much shoulder blade protraction as I can without now rounding out the spine. So I'm just continuing to try to press myself away from the floor, and then we're just going to work into retraction, so keeping that core tight. I'm going to go super slow, make sure my core stays engaged, make sure my hands stay right under my shoulders, and then I will retract, and I'm going to go back into protraction, keep that core braced, and try to keep pressing away. Keep pressing away, keep pressing away from the floor. Work some isometric holds and full protraction. This is an area that a lot of people don't get a whole lot of time to spend in training. We always think about retraction, but protraction is just as important. If you want to go into a closed fist position, if you need to, that's certainly okay. Sometimes it even just creates a slightly different feeling. So even if your wrists feel okay, you can just go right back into the retraction position. From there, squeeze together as tight as you can. Press away. So don't let that spine flex. Just keep trying to drive the floor away from you. Really think squeeze more, squeeze more, squeeze more. And one more time. Shoulder blades, little kind of armpit muscles. Right under the armpit should be burning right now. Squeeze together as tight as you can. Core tight. Last one. So here. Now press away. Press away. Press away. Get more. Get more. Don't let that thoracic spine round out. Just keep trying to drive the floor away from you. Really work that end range strength of protraction. And relax. Very good. Shake back and easy. Okay, so that was what we call protraction kind of iso holds. Now we're going to work into back to our scap retraction liftoffs. Okay, so we just kind of work some just kind of up and down. Now we'll go back to another round of those liftoffs so they feel a little bit different. Okay, so I'm just going to go here. Head comes down. You want to take that block again. Squeeze between the legs, between the thighs. You can squeeze between the calves, between the knees, whatever allows you to feel a little bit more out of it. That's certainly okay. From there, head will be down. Again, fist will be right against the rib cage. That's a good starting point, but you can up or down as needed. Okay, so set your body, set your tension, tuck that tailbone, drive those ribs down, try to lift that belly button. Take a breath in, full body contraction, and squeeze up. Back down. One, squeeze the elbows into the body, squeeze up, down. Two, up, down. Three, up, down. Four, up, down. Five more tension check. Reset the core if you need to. Just pull the shoulder blades back and down. Squeeze the body with those elbows. Here we go. 5 more. Squeeze up. Down. 6, up, down. 7, up, down. 8, 2 more. Squeeze, tuck, up, down. 9, up, down, and 10. Very good. Shake the shoulder blades out if you need to. Or shake the shoulders out. So shake the shoulder blades. From there, we'll go right into some loaded scapular cars. So we're going to go back to our quadruped scap cars that we did earlier in class. So that's kind of the first intro, or I shouldn't say the first, that is one intro into loading up the scap cars. Then we're going to practice from multiple different kind of positions. We're still working our 360 degrees of scap motion, but because now we're a little more loaded, we could technically classify these as end range rotation, because now we're putting some force into those shoulder blades. So again, we'll go back to quadruped. We're going to practice some different positions, and then if there's any that you feel like you cannot do successfully, you can just kind of come back to your quadruped position, or you can just continue to try to smooth out the rotation here, here, then go here, here, here. Just all different positions that you can train from. The more positions that you train in, the more comfortable you get at those positions, the better your shoulder blades are going to function in whatever it is that you do. So, definitely if you do overhead activities, sport like more organized sports, baseball, volleyball, those types of things, huge, right? Golf, tennis, definitely require a lot of shoulder blade motion in all 360 degrees, but then rock climbing, really anything that you do with your upper body, which is pretty much all of us, you're gonna want cleaner, better shoulder blade function. So give these a shot, and then if there's any that you feel like, okay, I need to spend more time on, just get in front of a mirror, do something that you can kind of see yourself and identify where the motions are most restricted, and then practice those with your cars, and then eventually start to load them up with some of these positions. So we're gonna get to a quadruped position, like I said. We're gonna go 3 in each direction. So we can start with the palms down, or if this bothers your wrist, kind of being in that extended position, you can go to a fist. A lot of times I like to just change up positions just because, like you said, this will feel a little bit different than this. So it's good to practice both, right? So there's no one right or wrong. You can also go use 2 blocks, or kind of in this position here. That's going to be a slightly different position. The more you widen out, the more you're going to be able to get that retraction. You can also go from there. So like I said, you got options. Okay, so we'll go from here, hands right on the shoulders, shoulder width apart, nice tight core brace. From there, I will just retract, so I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together. I'm going to shrug, press, pull down, retract. So now these next two, just go nice, slow, circular motion. So we've kind of been hitting the 4 points. Now we're going to really start to round out those edges. Hands, and really just draw good, clean circles. Reverse, back down, press, shrug, retract, pull down, press, shrug, last one, squeeze, pull back, down, press, back up to the top. Okay, so that was quadruped. So now we're going to go into what's called a Cobra position. So this would be here. So now it would be kind of more kind of yoga style in this position. Kind of the Cobra. It could be also up dog. Yogis would know better than me, of course. If this position is uncomfortable for your lower back, just do more from the quadruped position. If this is not a position that you want to practice in, definitely just continue to work on your other variations. So we're just going to get practice in a lot of different positions, kind of give you guys some exposure to different options here, right? So from here, I'm going to retract, and then, so I'm in shrug, and then I'll retract, press away, protract, shrug, retract, press away, protract, shrug, retract, press away. Now from here, think retract, shrug, protract, press away from the floor. We got 2 more. Retract, shrug, protract, grab away. Last one. Hold back and squeeze, and shrug, press away from the floor. Very good. Shake them out. You want to go to the down dog. Here's our child's pose. It helps you get a little bit more of that shoulder blade motion from there. Give them a little bit of a break before we explain our next one. So now we're going to go into what's called a modified push-up position. So that would be a push-up position here. And now instead of having quadruped there, I'm just going to walk on these back a little bit there. So this is like the next step after quadruped. Kind of allows me to kind of load them up a little bit more. We'll do 3 reps there. And then if you like, if you're feeling good about these ones, we'll go from a push-up position. Okay, and then we'll finish up the stores, and we're done for the day. So, set up here. So get in my quadruped position. Get a good position there. And now I'm just going to walk my knees back a little bit, make sure my shoulders stay over my hands. You can cross your feet, keep them together. You just want to take a slight tailbone touch to keep the core braced. From there, retract, shrug, protract, pull down. Retract, shrug, protract, pull down, retract, shrug, protract, pull down, reset, shrug, retract, pull down, press, shrug, retract, pull down, press, last one, shrug, retract, pull down, and press. Very good. So we're just doing, of course, as you can tell, we're just doing 3 reps on all these. That's just 1 rep range, of course, just like any other exercise, right? You do 2 reps if you want to just kind of experiment with different ones. If you find ones that you like, find ones you need to do more of, kind of slow down even more. By all means, slow down, 5 reps, 10 reps. So the good thing about cars is that you really can't overdo them, right? Of course, with the loading, you could put too much load into tissue that can't handle it too soon. So definitely take that into account, kind of how you feel during them and then how you feel the next day. You may need to, regress the position or just over time build up tolerance, and capacity. So again, use kind of how you feel tomorrow as a good gauge as well. So the last one for this position, we're just going to go into push-up position. We're just going to get, this is, I don't want to say it's the most loaded because there's other ways to load it. You can do it from, say, rings. You could do it from kind of more inverted position. You could do it from like a 3-point kind of row. If you've done those in the gym before, then you could do a kettlebell. Hold the kettlebell at your side. But this is assuming that you have good, clean shoulder blade motion. We never want to add load to motions that we already need to compensate through. Clean them up, unload it first, then start to build more tolerance, more capacity, more strength. after you have good, clean lines of tissue, right? So from here, push-up position, we're gonna do 3 reps. Let's just get locked in. Lock in the body, squeeze the glutes. From there, I will retract, shrug, protract, pull down. Retract, now let's make circles. Press away, squat out your feet. Pull down. One more, shrug, protract, retract. And then from there, press away, shrug, retract, pull down, press, shrug, retract, pull down, press, last one, shrug, retract, pull down, and press. Very good. That was our shoulder blade. One of the most loaded positions for shoulder blade cars. So we're just gonna finish up with some swimmer hovers. We're gonna do 3 reps swimmer hovers. We're gonna go from flaps kneeling to tall kneeling, and then our 3rd rep we will do from a prone position, which is just a little bit more challenging. So from there, if you've done these with us before, you know how these go. I'm just gonna explain them as if you've never done them before, just so we get the most out of them, so we can remember each individual position and each individual cue. At each position, we also want to remember that we're trying to go as slow as possible, trying to drive back, trying to squeeze out as much range of motion as possible. So we're not just trying to do these as a way just to finish the rep. We want to get the most out of them by going slow, squeezing, pausing at each transition. So from here, pause, then bend. Okay? So let's go hands behind the head. We've done them here before in the past, right? So now we're going to go kind of more up here. So I'm trying to drive my elbows to the sky, take ribs down, start pressing and squeezing back from here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my elbows back even more, pull my hands off of my lower back, go straight up, and now into my Y position. So I'm here driving back to the wall behind me. Elbows are staying locked out. I'm going to swim down. So I'm just going to internally rotate those shoulders, ribs stay down, press those hands back to the wall behind me, squeeze my shoulder blades together, those hands as high as I possibly can. Bend my elbows, bring them up as high on my lower back as possible, squeezing the shoulder blades back, set down. From there, I would just retract, so shoulder blades pulling together, elbows are driving back to the wall behind me. I'm going to take my hands off my lower back, reach, swing my hands up, continuing to press the backs of my hands back to the wall behind me. I am here in my Y position, move my hands up, down to my to my upper back as low as I can. From there. Very good. So that's 1 rep. It's a good chance to kind of shake it out. We're going to go to tall kneeling. So if you want to take a block, it's always a good option just to kind of throw blocks from the knees, just allows you to create a little bit more lower body tension. Hands down. Hands behind my upper back. Excuse me. Elbows drive back. Hands come off. Up. Y, swim down, slowly rotate, continue to reach, drive those ribs down, squeeze those glutes, palms are up, bend my elbows, continue squeezing those elbows back, and touch down on my back as high as I can. From there, reset the core tension, squeeze that block again, shoulder blades squeeze back, elbows squeeze back, hands pull off of my back, reach, palms are up, swim them up, swim them up, swim them up, hands right back to the wall behind me, shoulder blades are squeezing together. I'm going to go up, hands come to the back, elbows are driving to the sky, set down. We got a last one from prone. We'll lay on the stomach, face flat. Same thing here, so tucking the tailbone, squeezing the glutes. If you want to squeeze the block between the legs like the Protraction Liftoffs, you can. Hands are behind the head, kind of reaching down on that upper back. Tuck the tailbone, squeeze, and reach up with those arms. Hands come up to my Y. Hands as high in the air as I can, slowly swim down, turn the palms over. Reach up and back as high as I can to extension, squeeze those shoulder blades together. Bend those elbows. Bring as high up on my back as I can. Set down. Last half rep. Squeeze the glutes, tuck the tailbone. shoulder blade squeeze. And up. Reach, palms are up. Keep reaching, reaching, reaching. Swim over. Take a little wide. A little higher. Hands come behind the head. And elbows set down. Woo! If you're not sweating right now, you're not working hard enough. Very good. Thank you for joining me in today's 25-minute scapular focused Kinstretch class. That was quite a bit different, quite a bit more challenging if you've done our other scap motion or scap classes before. So again, just kind of continue to work on those cars without compensation, of course, and then you can start to load them up with some different positions that we practice today. Find the ones that you need to work on, in front of a mirror, and get to work. Thank you for joining me in today's Kinstretch class, and I hope to see you at the next one.